Hello, and welcome to part 3 of the Ecclesia walkthrough. This is going to feature patches that look like this with these crazy selector things, to where, kind of like what we did with part 2, I'm going to be walking you through how this selection aspect is going to give you widely different results that should be a lot of fun to make. This patch is called Dimensional Fissure, and there's a lot to do with it, but first I'm going to kind of just play some notes, and then we'll talk about how this actually works. So, with all due, okay, how the heck did I just do that? So, yes, this is one of my favorite patch, I guess, playgrounds or things that I like to do. And what I've basically done is created not one, but two selectors of a single patch. So I'm going to break down the left side of the patch first, because I'm going to kind of show you what I've done. And then this will kind of help make a little bit more sense. So in order for you to get more variation of the sound, there's a few things that kind of have to come into play. For one, something that I've included within this pack is over 100 different samples that are resampled into C, so that way you can change the engines here, and that's the most obvious. The other thing is that you can always hot swap these out with different wavetables. You can use the ones that have been included, which there are 47 different ones within Ecclesia, or you can use your own, or you can make your own, doesn't really matter. So the start position is mapped here, as you can see. That was nice. That's pretty much a given. Now, the main thing with this is that on this knob, we can kind of modulate behind or between the table here into the granular synth. And when this is here, it's at 50-50. So very cool. Now, the other thing that is the big one is this guy, and applying FM is going to activate the selectors here. And what this does is this, depending on what's mapped here, will start to modulate behind 1, 2, 3, 4 different wavetable shapes that are all dictated by a selector via here. So as you can see, whenever I turn this on, it gives you different stuff. And what's really cool about this is that by utilizing this, you can kind of modify behind creating different timbres and sounds by combining all the wavetable stuff with certain amounts of FM together. I've achieved that through remap. I've got a video on how I've put this together, so I'm going to kind of spare you the time, but just know that by utilizing this, you can kind of create cool stuff. The other thing is that with this thing here, you can change the shape of this and either create a sequence or just create an expression that's, instead of it being a pluck, something that's more of like a swell. So yeah, I don't know why that one's not coming on, but you can see that it's mapped, and so I think that it's just a bug or something, but that would bug me otherwise. Wait, let me see. Oh, I just moved it off, that's why. So yeah, you can kind of morph between all these different things here to create all these variations of sound. You can also manipulate the grain size, turn the chord on if you want to. We can set this to something like octaves. And then down here, of course, you can change the expression of what this is supposed to be. So if you want this to be a pad, you know, we can set this to be really long, kind of like so, and then grab another point here and do something like this with a really long release. Maybe make this really slow. So maybe a little bit longer. Really pretty though. Yeah, that's so cool. So within this, that's a great patch for just building out whatever kinds of melodic sounds you want. Now, all of this is centered around FM and kind of bells and stuff, and it kind of all has a very similar family of sounds, but different enough to, you know, have a lot of nuance. Now, the other thing that I've done is I've actually added in a second set of selections here with this, and this is all dictated by the effects knob right here. This will turn this on so you can kind of modulate the entire thing to different degrees, but what this is modulated to, excuse me, is four different selections of basically effects. Now, this is definitely overkill. This is something that will kind of destroy a CPU if it's not for the faint of heart, but at the same time, you can always just turn one off or, you know, just focus on one or isolate things. But I had a lot of fun doing this because this kind of is, you know, if you've watched the Requiem stuff or you have the Requiem pack, you'll know that I've done this with one sound of a bass, a pad, a pluck, percussion, a glitch thing, whatever. But what I've done this time is taken one sound and turned it into a lot of different expressions. And I actually think that there is a lot more CPU efficiency because of that. So with this, once you turn the effects thing on, we can go in and adjust this here. And now all you have to have is some kind of either sequencer or something of the sort to be able to give you some really interesting results. So this was from the first video, but if I go into this here and I grab the melody thing over this way, this is just a sequencer. And then I also need the harmony bloom and quantize here because this is going to help us set everything to a scale. And this is just one way that I, you know, use this kind of stuff. But now that we have that, what happened to my thing? I deleted it, I think. Let's try that again. And go here, go to phase plant and place it right there. There we go. So now whenever I hit play, this is going to play something within whatever scale I have playing, and then we can kind of just focus on getting variations from changing the timbre of the sound. So check this out. Whoa. Okay, let's back up a quick sec. What I'm going to do on this is set this to a short pluck. Now we can kind of change this stuff. And then I'm going to increase this by 12. We can also swap this out. And then we can start to mess with this stuff in order to get more variation. If it's a little bit sharp, we can pull the top end off. And then now we can go back down. So yeah, it's kind of cool to just mess around with and get different timbres. Of course, you can always just play something yourself, which is something that I'm not opposed to. Go back up to 8. I mean, yeah, there's not really an end to how much different stuff you can get out of this. So, you know, now that you kind of are equipped with the tools to kind of swap things in and out, I would definitely say get in there and, you know, just start changing some stuff over on the left. Or if you want to build your own effect rack or something, you can just kind of delete all of these and create your own thing. Generally speaking, I like to have something that's spacey, something that is delayed, something that is distorted, and then something else that could be a wild card, maybe something that's filtered or whatever. But as you can see, like, it's definitely a rabbit hole to kind of get stuck in and have a great time with. And I'm hoping that you find that for yourselves. Or I do think that this is actually super helpful in writing a track, because you can get and lock onto something that sounds good. And then it's always going to be consistent as long as you don't change anything. There's no randomizers on this. And that in itself makes it a lot more useful and interesting. There's a couple of other ones that you can try. So I'll just kind of quickly walk you through those, but they all have a similar kind of patch structure, if you will. And I didn't make too many of these, but yeah, they're kind of just designed for you to have fun with and mix and match. Nice. So yeah, get in there, have some fun with it, and, you know, start coming up with new possibilities and stuff. The last video that we're going to talk about is going to be the granular factory maker, which is going to help you out a lot with the musical stuff, but we'll talk about that here in just a bit. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, if anything, hopefully if you learned something, then there's that. But if you're interested in picking up this pack, it's available at alckemy.com with a K. It's available for $30, or you can get the bundle, which is 120, and in that you get Requiem 1, 2, and 3, along with this pack, which is Ecclesia. But yeah, even if not, you know, leaving a comment and subscribing is definitely helpful to the channel as well. Or if you think someone else would think that this is interesting, then maybe, you know, refer it to them and let me know what you think. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you in the last video, which will talk about the factory maker.